All right. That was wild, yo. Hey, I'm Marcus. You're the channel, The Debt Free Dad. We had to do a quick reset because I had technical difficulties, but we're talking 529s and about a lot of people in Maryland who cannot access their 529 at the moment. So that's the conversation. Hopefully, all the audio and the visual is working okay because I don't know what in the world went on. As always, licensed attorney, not legal advice, not financial advice, to give my opinion and takes on topics and passing on some financial literacy. Now, I was talking about a 529 plan. The 529 plan, in short, is a way for people to save for college. Now, you take money, you put it into this account. This account is in the market, it can gain interest, it grows with the market, and you can use that money without paying any taxes so long as you use it for a qualified expense. How am I sounding right now, since you're on here? I definitely need to hit you up because I don't know what that was. Hopefully, you can hear me better right now because I don't know. The last time it was wild and out. But like I said, you put your money in, it grows in the market. You can use it on qualified educational expenses, and you don't pay any taxes or penalties so long as you use the money for a qualified expense. Now, a lot of people are of the impression that a 529 college saving plan is just for kids, but no, you can use a college savings plan or educational savings plan. Okay, cool. Thanks, sis. I appreciate that. You can use this 529 plan to save for any type of educational fund for anybody. You can make one and name yourself as the beneficiary. You can make a fine plan and name your grandfather, your great grandfather, your uncle as the beneficiary. As long as you use the funds for a qualified educational expense, you won't pay any taxes. That money can grow in the market over time. Presumably, when the market is doing good, that's the benefit of it. Now, when talking about these 529 plans, there are a few different variations that people use. You can have a 529 plan, and most 529 plans are state specific plans. So, employees of Maryland, employees of Virginia, they contribute to the Virginia or the Maryland 529 plan. But that's not the only way you can go. You can also have a 529 plan based at a financial institution. The same way you have an investment account, you can have it based at a financial institution. Me, I have 529 plans for both of my children so that I can help them fund their college education, whatever they decide they want to do. But I don't have it with a state specific agency. I did mine at a financial institution. Now, if you open up a college 529 savings plan at a financial institution, there is a possibility you could be losing out on some specific benefits. Now, let me explain this, okay? In some states, and you have to look at the laws in your particular states as it relates to 529, but in some states, if you contribute money to your state 529 plan, you may get a state tax deduction for a certain amount that's contributed. However, these same states may not allow you to get that same deduction if you contribute to a institutional funded 529 plan. So, me, I don't have a DC 529 plan. I have my 529 set up at a financial institution. Because I have my 529 at a financial institution, the District of Columbia may not give me certain district or state tax deductions because they want to encourage people to put their 529 college savings funds in a state specific plan. Now, I know y'all probably asking the question, why don't you have your 529 in a fund, a 529 college plan with the District of Columbia or with your state? And I'm going to tell you why. Because I worked for local government before. So, because I worked for local government before, and I'm not saying that this happens all the time. I honestly never heard of a state freezing their 529 plan for 9 months. People couldn't get their money for 9 months. They still can't get their money. This is still ongoing. So I've never heard of that happening until now. But I will tell you, because I have some familiarity with how local government works, this was my thought process. If something happens and a mistake happens, just like in this scenario, a mistake happened. they identified a mistake with interest. The state of Maryland identified a mistake with the interest calculation. So in order to figure it out, they had to freeze everyone's account. Now, let's think about this. Uh, am I more inclined to trust a government entity to, as they're correcting things, to be able to give me money in the meantime so that I can pay my kids' tuition? No, I just can't trust any government entity to do that. My thought process and why I went through a financial institution the same way you would open any other investment account was that if there's a mistake made at a financial institution, there's a strong possibility that that financial institution has the capital to be able to give me the money to do what I need to do. They figure out whatever the interest error was. There are a lot of states and government agencies out there that run at a deficit, that go over budget all the time. So if a mistake is made, I personally think, and I'm of the opinion that a financial institution may be in the best interest and maybe in the best place to be able to rectify that immediately until they figure things out, as opposed to a state entity or government entity. That was my standpoint. So I want y'all to check out this video so y'all can really see and get an idea of what I'm talking about and see how this is actually putting the impact and the burden on people, because now people are getting credit cards and loans and got to borrow from their 529 and do all sorts of other crazy stuff to figure out how they can fund their child's education, which is a complete travesty in my opinion. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this up so y'all can check this out.
Parents who've invested in a Maryland 529 calculation error found earlier this year was on pause, blocking access to money parents now say they desperately need. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor.
Hold on one quick. I want to make sure the sound good so y'all can hear what's going on. All right, cool. I think we at the max. All right, cool.
Parents who've invested in a Maryland 529 college fund. A calculation error found earlier this year put thousands of accounts on pause, blocking access to money parents now say they desperately need. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has new information in this still developing. Mary, this has just been one missed deadline after the next. Maryland 529, they continue to say that they're on track and that they're nearing a solution, but they've been saying that for the past 9 months. Meanwhile, dozens of parents have been reaching out to Fox 45 saying that they're running out of time and that they don't have enough money, upcoming tuition bills. Pouring into the Fox 45 newsroom.
It's scary, is what it is. I'm just plain angry.
Everybody is getting more anxious.
We need help now.
It's been one complaint after another from concerned parents investing in a Maryland 529 college trust. The state agency's plans are extremely popular, with about 31,000 prepaid accounts, all of whom are now grappling with frozen funds after an interest calculation error surfaced earlier this year.
It's the uncertainty, it's the updates that aren't really updates. It's frustrating.
9 months of frustrations later, and still no clear solutions in sight.
What I can't understand is why it has taken so long to implement a solution. It cannot be that complex.
This is a ridiculous amount of time for this to carry on for. The agency initially, families will be able to access all their funds in June. Then the deadline was pushed to September. When both those promises fell through, support forms for high priority cases were rolled out, along with $1 million allocated to the issue. During a virtual town hall held 3 months ago, Maryland 529's executive director saying accounts with college and tuition bills due would be manually calculated and serviced soon. An updated timeline also suggests those manual case-by-case calculations should be well underway. And yet, when Fox 45 asked just how many accounts were deemed a priority and received help, Maryland 529 refusing to answer.
So if they're going in priority order, I can guarantee I should be pretty high up in the
priority, along with all the other parents that I've talked to. Not one of us has heard.
Lori Delaney's daughter is about to enter her last semester of college. All that's left in her account, about $8,000 worth of frozen interest, forcing Lori to take out loans and rack up credit card debt while she continues to wait for assistance.
I mean, I call literally at least twice a week and just get the boilerplate answer every single time. Can't access it, and she's gonna be finished with college, so.
Donald is in a similar situation. On top of worrying how they'll supplement from other sources to pay their child's way through school, if they aren't paid out this year, it puts one of their investment's main benefits at risk.
If it's next year, then I have to pay tax on funds that I shouldn't have to because Maryland made a mistake. If I had known that I would have another source, not this one.
Parents in need of their money months ago, pleading with the state agency, they can't wait any longer.
We've saved since they were little kids, and, you know, this is how the state is repaying
It's a real betrayal of trust. When am I going to get my money?
Parents add that this has put a financial strain on all sorts of things, from trying to pay their mortgage to how much money they'll be able to spend on Christmas gifts this year. It's also unclear if the state is creating this situation. I reached out to the Attorney General's office today, asking him to weigh in, but they declined to comment. Reporting live in Baltimore, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
That is absolutely absolutely terrible. So let's talk about this. Okay, these people have paid into this thing probably since their child was 1 or 2, and they entrusted the state. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all where my mind immediately goes. And again, I'm a little jaded because I'm a little jaded because I like to go. I just see so many people misappropriate things. When there's a problem that takes too long to fix, that means somebody really messed up. So I really pray that these funds weren't misappropriated in a way, and these people actually have the money that's in their account. But I think this is a travesty. And let's just think about this. A lot of people are using. So your kid is about to graduate. You can't pay their tuition. So you get a loan, you borrow from your 401k, you put it on a credit card. These people are accruing interest using other means to try to pay for their kids' college. And I think the most interesting thing was what the one lady said. Let's just think about this, okay? If my son had one semester left and it cost $20,000, my account has been frozen for almost a year. I can't get the $20,000. So I borrowed $20,000, whatever, a credit card. I borrow it from my house, and I take that $20,000 that I borrowed from some means, and I pay off his school. So now my son graduates, which is straight. Let's say whenever these funds are unfrozen and I get access to them, I take the $20,000 out just to pay myself back. Well, me taking that $20,000 out isn't a qualified educational expenses. So now I'm going to get hit with taxes on that $20,000 that I'm taking out to pay myself back, or that $20,000 I'm taking out to pay off the credit card, or the money I borrowed on my home, or for my 401k. I think that's just a travesty. I hope those parents get some relief, but it just goes to show this is one of the reasons when I started a 529 plan and I looked at the state sponsored plan or a plan with an investment financial institution. I was like, I'm gonna go with the financial institution just because I don't know. Like I just because I've worked in government and seen government operate for so long, I just had a feeling like something like this would happen eventually, and I wouldn't be calm. It would be some heads would have to roll, because I think that's a utter disaster. Yeah, and that's my thought, because I mean, an interest miscalculation. I'm no mathematician or accountant or CFP or anything like that, but an interest miscalculation should not take 9 months to solve. I think, it's like if if you ask your kids or someone who works for you for something like, hey, can you give me a copy of the invoices for A? If they take more than 15 minutes from you, that means that it's probably really messed up. And this should have been a 30, 60-day fix at the minimum. It shouldn't have been 60 days, but 60 to 90 days at the minimum. The fact that this is going on for almost a year and they aren't taking calls. And this is the worst part for me as an attorney, right? I think this is the worst part for me as an attorney. The attorney general's office at any state, any city is tasked with protecting the public. So the fact that when they actually reach out to the attorney general's office, they have no comment, that is a big time no. Like, I don't know, maybe attorney general's office it is possible they could have their own internal investigation going on to try to figure out what's going on before any comment is made. But I think you have to at least say, hey, we are aware. We're working right now with whatever the comptroller's office or whoever the hell you need to work with to rectify the situation. In the interim, we have launched an investigation to, one, make sure that the funds weren't misused or misappropriated, and two, to try to find what was the flaw in the process that led to this. That's it. I mean, it's not rocket science, it's not rocket science, just the same old boilerplate thing. And that's the thing. Like, think about it. And that's another thing too. That's a good point, Aaron. When they needed the money 9 months ago, they probably had $50,000. Now it's probably $20,000 or $30,000. That's just terrible that something like this. That's terrible that something like this could actually happen to people. And I honestly feel the state should have a higher responsibility, because these are your citizens. These are the people who vote for the elected officials. And I'm not sure, but some states, and I'm not sure how it is in Maryland, but some states actually have elected persons to manage these type of funds or state retirement accounts, versus other states, they actually may have the comptroller or someone actually contract and someone to do it. In any event, is a damn a process failure. Somebody need to get fired, first of all. Yeah, I'm telling you. Now, but this is the thing though. If an error was made, this is how you know that the error was made in the people who hold the account's favor. Because if the error was made in the government's favor, the government would immediately be like, oh, we identified an error. We got to reduce this. Y'all didn't have as much money as y'all thought. We're going to fix it. But I guarantee you that the error that they found was an error where the interest was underrepresented, and it should have been higher. So now they probably scrambling like, whoa, wait a minute. We were going to put it's just terrible. I can't believe that this is happening. I can't believe it's been going on for 9 months. And the other thing I think that's actually even crazier is that, like, I don't know, I haven't heard a lot of stories even talking about this. I'm gonna be honest, I heard about it when it happened, but then I thought it's a small error. There's no way that they're gonna let this go forever. And then the worst part is, if something is broken or a process falls through and there's some harm done, people can't get their money, that's fine. But I think the worst thing, I don't like the BS. I think the worst thing that they did was, okay, you created a way where, okay, you fill out this paperwork and we'll be able to establish people who have a certain priority, and we're going to put $1 million in this slush fund where we can give you the money to do what you need to do. And to date, 9 months later, nobody appeared to have gotten any funds. If something is broken and you can't fix it, don't BS. It's like, I mean, this is crazy that a government is doing. This is the same thing that I tell my son. If you're supposed to do something and you don't do it, just tell me that you didn't do it. Don't give me a BS way to think that you tried to do it or you're doing something. No, I don't want to hear that stuff. And that's all this was. They had people fill out these forms, do a virtual town hall to feel as if they're getting some type of reassurance that their needs and their money is going to be taken care of. and to date nobody's got nothing. That is like the worst part of the story. I would have rather y'all just said we figuring it out. It may take a year. Say that shit up for here. Here's a note, okay. You don't want to ever set the bar too high, okay? So as soon as this problem was identified, the first thing that you probably should do is say, hey, this is a process that's going to take some time. And you will say it could take anywhere between 9 to 12 months for us to resolve it and get to the bottom of it. But in the interim, we're going to come up with some alternate means to figure out a way where people can at least access cash and do what they need to do on. I mean, they could have came up with something. But here is kind of where it gets crazy. You have a program like this falls short. Now all these people are suffering harm. Is the state going to be responsible for the interest that these people have to pay on their credit card? Is the state going to bear the burden for the people who decided to use their money in their savings account to pay for their child's last year of school as opposed to make their mortgage payment? Because think about it. My son get kicked out of school his last semester because of a mistake, or I'm a couple of months late on the mortgage. It's going to take him a long ass time to foreclose and throw me out of my house. So if I was in that situation, I would probably take care of my son as well and just think, okay, I can play catch up with the mortgage going to have to eat this terrible credit score or this negative impact for a while. Yeah, it's way easier just to tell the truth and overshoot it. Just say up front, it may take 12 to 15 months. When you have a problem, never present a problem without a solution. If you got a problem, you identify the problem, you give yourself enough time to fix it, so you overshoot it. This may take 15 months to resolve. And if it's less than 15 months, you look great because it was less. But then you have a solution that you actually got to damn do. You can't have a solution that's a make-believe solution. You got people filling out damn work just to make them feel better. That's that BS. Like, I'll be honest, like, God is good because that couldn't be me, because I would be doing a lot more than calling all the time. It would be an international incident because I would lose my damn mind and I would be up there. I can't even describe it, but y'all may not know this, but I have a very short tolerance for stupidity, and something like this would really drive me to the brink of not being as professional or or adult like as I should be. Yeah, it's going to be a terrible process. I don't know. I just hope it get fixed. I wanted to do this video because so many times we hear about and I compare it to everything. Like a lot of people talk about, oh, the Sam Bankman-Fried guy stole all of this crypto money. But what happened with crypto can happen in anything you do. Every financial platform has some type of regulation, and if a mistake is made or somebody does something illegal to mess up the money, people are just going to have to suffer. And I'm gonna be honest, I sat down and tried to think of a way. I try to think of a way as how could you protect yourself against something like this happening? And honestly, you can't. I mean, let's just be realistic. When you invest in these type of things, because there's so many regulations, you think you have a certain amount of security, but this goes to show you that no matter what regulations and policies may be in place, if someone wants to put an abrupt halt on, they could. Now, the interesting thing would be, and this is why but it does cost money to litigate. But I'm shocked that some type of litigation or lawsuit has not been filed because, let's just think about it. To me, this this definitely screams this is actually an interesting legal claim now that you think about it, because it could potentially be a contract claim. And I'm thinking that would probably be the best way to go, because you have a couple of ways you could go here. A contract claim, which I think is a very good one. It's a breach of a contract that caused economic harm. And I mean, the terms of the contract are actually laid out. So I think that would probably be the best approach. There could be a negligence cause of action as well. They had a duty to do something, they failed in that duty. Because they failed in that duty, caused the economic harm that's calculatable, measurable, like a monetary loss amount. So there's a couple of legal theories that could be applicable. But the problem is, let's just think about it. If you are struggling to find money to pay for your kids' tuition, how the hell are you going to pay money to hire some attorney who's just going to, do it? The attorneys aren't going to do it out the kindness of their heart. Maybe if it was some organization or something to that effect. But yeah, it's crazy. You can bring a negligence and a contract case. I hope these guys get some relief. I'm definitely gonna just keep y'all updated. It may be a short to see how this whole thing plays out, but I mean, 9 months. This is gonna go well into next year probably, and it's just gonna be terrible. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And this just goes to show, no matter where you have your money, things can happen that could impact your money. So a lot of people always say, "Oh man, you don't want to hold too much cash." Sometimes cash is comfort. You know what I mean? Cash is comfort. So, and I'm not saying, you always want to have money in an emergency fund, but even if our emergency fund is max, we still allocate money to go there just in case, because you never know what could potentially happen. So, you got to have be liquid in some aspect, and just keep your fingers crossed and hope that stupid doesn't take hold. Yo, I appreciate all y'all tuning in. I'm gonna keep y'all posted on how this thing plays out. They definitely should get paid with interest on top to account for the harm. And if they don't, it definitely should be a lawsuit. And if a DFD had resources and was technically able to do it, it would be a case. This would be a great case to actually take, just from the. I mean, because think about it. If I'm in another state and I heard of this happening, I would be so shook, like, oh my goodness, can this happen in Virginia and North Carolina to me? So there definitely should be some type of precedent or something set. But hey, I appreciate all y'all tuning in. Y'all make sure y'all take care, have a blessed week. Enjoy your time off, especially if y'all lucky people who not going back to work or on a break until like January. I, I envy y'all, but I'm also excited for y'all as well. It's a good type of envy. It's not a hating ass envy. Y'all take care, be blessed. Have a good one. Peace.